Management, maintenance. 4 main parts to an effective maintenance program. Like everything else, proactive policies. What does that mean? Preventive maintenance, doing routine maintenance, response procedures to service requests. I think there's an example in my manual of here's what we do anytime we receive a service request. What's the big deal? I mean, I'm sure you've got a way to handle it. All I'm suggesting to you is put it in writing. Have it in a checklist. Here's what we do if somebody has a service request. Or what do you require? You know, how do they get it to you? Do you have it in writing? Do you request it to be emailed? Is it okay if they text? Be clear in your communication. Schedule systematic maintenance. Budgeting. And I got on there, many landlords do not grow because of this. What do I mean? Frugality mindset sits in again, and you're not setting aside money for maintenance. And because you don't set aside money for maintenance, when something comes up, you look for the cheap way to handle it. I'm suggesting to you that you do, now we are talking about a reserve account. All landlords should have a reserve account. I would even suggest that you put a small amount into that reserve account every month, just like it's an escrow account. Loans, a lot of loan companies, some loan companies, once you're dealing with commercial properties, apartment buildings, I'm required if I got a loan with them to put money aside in the escrow account. They're not going to take it to chance that I'm not setting aside money for maintenance. Well, even if my single family homes, your single family homes, you should be setting aside money, my suggestion, every month toward an escrow account. That way, when something has to be done, you can do it and you don't have to overly flinch about it. Or you don't have to worry that you don't have the money to do it, which is a worse situation, especially if it's something that you're being required to take care of rather quickly because the city is on you about something or what have you. But a lot of landlords get in trouble because they don't put any money aside on a regular basis. Because your goal is to reduce the vacancies, the maintenance, and the repairs, which can add up 15 to 25% of your income. 15 to 25% of your income can be easily eaten up. And what I'm suggesting to you, by doing preventive maintenance, you can reduce that number. Also vital to your success, know what your weakest link is in terms of maintenance. And get somebody to assist you. Make sure you have somebody on hand who can assist you. In other words, even if you do a lot of the work yourself, it's a good chance there's one area that you're not as good as others. Maybe you don't do roofing that well, you don't want to do roofing. Find out now who's a roofer that you can use. If you need a plumber and you're not that good with plumbing, find out now who's a good plumber. Of course, my suggestion is you get to the point where you're not doing any of that type of work yourself. The greatest tool that you can have outside of this manual is your pen or your phone, where you're writing checks as opposed to you going out there with a hammer and doing the work yourself. Procedures, examples of policies and guarantees. I've mentioned one to you, my maintenance guarantee. Procedures responding to service requests. So when somebody makes a call to our office or writes in to our office, we let them know that any repairs that's not an emergency will be responded to within 72 hours. So that's our policy. That's our procedure. We will respond to it within 72 hours. You've got to give us permission to come in or you got to be present. Some landlords say in these days and times, you got to be present so that they don't accuse you or the contractor of doing something in there that you shouldn't be doing or that they say want to accuse you of doing. You should also know this. I'm sure it's obvious to most of you, but just in case, you should be aware of the fact that more and more residents have cameras in their home. So you should know that, and you should, when communicating with anybody going into your property, communicate to them. Mrs. Jones, it's a good possibility that our residents have cameras. We don't want any negative feedback coming from our residents, so understand that you're probably on camera while you're going through the property. Provide guidelines. So that's one of our guidelines, by the way, for any doing work. Another guideline might be, what's the guideline? The guideline is know that you are on camera and be responsible for what you do. Do not use the resident's bathroom.
Why? I mean, I get that, but why so strong about that?
Because that's one of the complaints that we've gotten more than once, that a resident doesn't feel that, especially during this whole COVID thing, that they should be utilizing their bathroom. Obviously, if it's an absolute emergency, okay, I hear you. But our policy starts with the idea, no, you're not supposed to, in fact, you're not supposed to touch anything or do anything in there other than the work that you're being requested to do. You'd be surprised. Some contractors are pretty lackadaisical about when they go into a property, feeling like it's no big deal to use a restroom or take something, paper towels or whatever. Perform regularly scheduled maintenance, preventive maintenance, routine maintenance, seasonal maintenance. And there's examples of each of those in your manual. Do energy audits, hiring help, contractors versus best use of your time. For some of you who are frugal like me, here's something that really helped me a lot mentally. I said that I've got a couple of maintenance people that I've hired. I used to be overly concerned, maybe justifiably so, but concerned because I would go out to the properties. They're supposed to be doing work, and I'm seeing them kind of just hanging around and talking. Now, I'm paying them by the hour. It's different if you're hiring somebody as a contractor and they're paid by the job. But when I switched over to an employee, I had to deal with this mental challenge of people, are they doing what they're supposed to be doing, or how much time is being wasted? So here's how I got over that mental challenge for me. I know that might not be for you, but for me, that was a challenge. Because I'm spending this money and I'm thinking, okay, they're not they're not being responsible with what they're being paid for. So now what I do, I'm more looking at what is it that I will want my maintenance people to do. Here are the goals that I have for them. Here are the regular tasks that they would do. Here's the average number of service requests that they will perform on a daily or a weekly basis. I kind of add that all up and say, if they do everything they're supposed to do, I'm willingly pay them this amount of money for what it is I'm looking for them to do. Now, hear me clearly. How am I able to even have that mindset? Not because I give them a check. Not compared to what a contract. How can I even make this work for me? I've had the work done before. Okay, maybe I'm not saying it as clearly as I want. Let me start again. I think about everything that needs to be done. Everything that I want done on the property on a regular basis. I think about what the number of service requests on average will be. In other words, I've broken out all the things that I think they're going to do. And from my records, from previous records, not how much I used to pay other people, but what I'm looking for them to do. I have a clear picture. See, I wouldn't even suggest that you hire somebody unless you have a clear picture of what it is you expect them to do. Since I have a clear picture, now I can say, based on what I expect them to do, here's what I'll pay for that to be done. Now, If I go out to a job site or go out to a home or go out to an apartment building and they're just standing around, that's not going to faze me. What's going to faze me is if I look at the list of things that they should be doing on a regular basis and it's not being done, that's a problem. But that's a big different mindset. Because now if everything is being done, then I'm okay. Because I've already justified in my head, it's worth, if it's being done, it's worth this amount. I hope you catch the difference there. If they, in other words, I don't want them to feel that, I like the way you just said it. If they're working efficiently to get everything done, they can, as far as I'm concerned, if they can do it in 4 days instead of 5 and everything's being done, doesn't matter to me. So now they can focus on being efficient and getting the job done as opposed to, well, let's drag this out a little bit because, we're getting paid by the hour. Everybody caught the difference there? Big difference. Same thing with the admin, the assistant that I have working with me. We have all the tasks that's being done. I know everything that I'm looking for that person to do. I figure, okay, as long as these things are accomplished, I don't have to get bent out of shape if I feel that if I go over and I see, oh, it doesn't look like they're doing everything at that moment like I would want them to do. Well, they might just be doing stuff to make it look like they're being busy work. Just to show, while I don't want people doing stuff just to have busy work. But the only way I can make that happen, in my mind, is let's come to agreement. Here's what I want you to do. As long as you get that done, here's the pay that I'm going to give you. Are we okay with that? And of course, every year we look at that and we see if that's fair for both persons. Because if I find that, wait a minute, maybe I paid too much or maybe I paid too little. So we reevaluate it. But I'm not going to be reevaluating it every time I see the person every month during the year. No, here's what we agreed to. You got it done. I'm happy. You're happy. Everybody got that? Yes?
At that time, you figure it already hasn't happened before
if it already hasn't happened,
you start forcing standardization of products that you use. But going back to school, we're going to, I want the same phosphorus flame. I want the same material in order to, now you have it quicker next time that maintenance needs to be done.
Okay, I'm totally with you. So your question for me is?
If it's not always standardized, you have a person going there for maintenance operations, that's an opportunity that happens.
Sure I do. I mean, is that a trick question? Okay, all righty. In fact, that's one of the communications we have with those dealing with maintenance. Okay, what are the brands that are used? Are we using the same one? Because we want to be able to buy in bulk. So we have that kind of conversation. All right. So that responded to you, okay? Virtual maintenance support. I don't know if one of the flyers if that's one of the flyers in your folder that talks about maintenance support. Yeah. Handling maintenance calls just got easier. This is a virtual maintenance company. You say, well, how can they do maintenance virtually? Well, what they do is they're kind of like here's their selling point. Their selling point is you may not want to take calls for maintenance throughout the day. They'll take all your maintenance calls for a little flat fee. Small, but pretty, and it's very reasonable. That's why I decided to say, okay, you can be a sponsor of our website. So they take the calls. This is how it works in theory. I've heard of some landlords who said it's working well for them. A couple said, didn't work well for me. So here's how it works in theory. You call them. They immediately, no, you don't call them. The resident calls them. All hours. Well, you can set it up so you can do it just during business hours. You can set it up so it's just after hours so you don't have to take the call. Or you can do it so that it's 24/7. So in theory, it works. Resident calls. They first troubleshoot. They've got a whole database of different type of problems that can occur. So they troubleshoot with the residents. Well, have you checked this first? Have you checked this first? And as a landlord, you can tell them things about your property so they know what to direct people to. So they do a troubleshooting. And then third thing they do is that they either contact a contractor that you have told them to contact to handle the issue, or the other option is if they've got contractors in that area, they'll send out one of their contractors to do it. That's how it works in theory. The first three steps, where they take the call, they troubleshoot, they contact your contractor. Individuals who have used that method seem to be more happier than the ones who use the fourth option, where they send out a contractor in your area. Because now they're pretty much shooting a little bit of risk there, unless it's somebody that they've used on a regular basis. But it's no guarantee that it's going to be somebody that they used on a regular basis. And it's really no guarantee that they have some contractors in your specific area. But if you can let them know, hey, here are the contractors that we use, here's who I want you to call, then that practice, I think, can be a good option for some landlords who don't want to deal with maintenance calls.
That has worked out well for the people when they
provide their own contractors. I'm trying to remember.
You said it was 99 and then it was going to be waived. That's what you said previously.
Oh, it's the $99 setup fee is waived. That's still the case.
All right.
It's like so many, I don't know, how much. I wish I could give you more information, but I can't remember. But it's based on the number of rental units that you have.
It was reasonable.
It was very reasonable, very reasonable. But
it's working out well
for people who use their own contractors. But some have come back and
It could be a list of companies to call, right, where you've made arrangements.
Yeah, long as they know who to call that you've given to them. To me, that's a good thing, because it's not much things that can go wrong there. If they don't use your contractors, to me, I've lost control. My whole thing is I like to take total control. And anything that takes me out of control, I'm leery of. All right? Now, so that's that. But again, what's my goal here? My goal is to just give you different options on how you can do things. Check them out.
You know, I'm going to make a post on the website now, how it goes for people.
Okay. While you're making a post on the website, mention something good about the boot camp training.